All right, what's going on? Getting a little more used to this with OBS. Got to change that thumbnail. This is not a Walter Simonson stream. All right, I'm gonna open up YouTube here. I cannot see chat. I don't have the widget here in OBS yet. I don't know that I ever will. I will try. So yeah, I went to the comic shop today. Picked up a few things. Got a few sketch covers. Oh, come on, guy. Here we go. Yeah, got a few sketch covers. And originally I wasn't going to get this. You know, I already got the French edition black and white hardcover. And let me go turn this down. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, let's see. I see Ichthus is here. Noah, what up? Glenn, Ichthus again. I just don't have the widget up here, guys. All right, so yeah. Anyways, I can show you. I mean, it's very obvious. This just came out today. Okay, it's the. I'll hold it up here. The Batman and Joker, the Unplugged. Here we go. There you go. Now I can read it. Unplugged. It's not even listed as a #1. Okay. It's the back cover. Very, very similar to my other edition, which I have now misplaced. This is not the first time they did this, but it's the first time you get this with no lettering. All right. And so I was going to do a side-by-side, but it's like, why? You know, I figure at some point maybe DC is going to fix the error of their ways and actually put out an unwrapped edition of this. But if they don't, you guys can always track down the Urban Comics French edition hardcover. Size-wise, I mean, it's also larger and it's full bleed. So here's a regular comic. Here's this one here. Yeah. So, but this one is with word balloons in French. The one that came out today is not. The one that came out today is completely free of all text, and this only contains the first 2 books. And I already did some internet sleuthing trying to figure out what was up. I was like, oh, so I wonder, are they gonna, this is 7 issues and there's only 2 in here, that leaves 1 odd man out. So I was thinking, okay, well, maybe the 4th one would contain issue 7, right? Even numbers, plus all the variant covers, plus whatever else, right? I mean, there's got to, you know, there's what, 75 variants on this book. So I figured, you know, there's going to be enough black and white product, right? You got Mignola black and white, you got a bunch of, you know, Capullo and other incentive variants by Marc himself, that there's enough content there to make up for the non-existing 8th issue, right? No, this is it. This is all they're doing. According to the comic shop, I asked them, I was like, hey, so I did some searching for this. Do you guys have another one of these, like, that I just somehow overlooked? I couldn't, you know, maybe it's just a vendor only thing. And he told me, nah, and we don't know why DC only did that one. It's really bizarre. So comic shops think this is bizarre behavior. I also think it's bizarre behavior. However, this is a very cool book. If this is your option to get some black and white Sylvestri, some of his strongest work is in these 2 books, okay? So I do highly recommend that. What's up, Carl? Carl, I need to upload a pit piece for you. I'll do that after the stream. It's a pit drawing I did. All right, Gary G, what's up? Chauncey, how are you? All right, so I'll flip this. Enough talking, enough chit chat. Yeah, I think Chauncey would be interested in that. Chauncey, you're a Sylvestri fan, right? So, yeah, let me flip this around. Does this sound okay? I'm trying not to talk too loud because my daughter's asleep right now. Had a long day. It was my final day of game design today. So now I got next semester. I'm probably going to be teaching a comic class. I was asked tonight to teach. So, talk about that later. This is all about Marc Silvestri's Batman Joker Deadly Duo. Again, size-wise, significantly smaller than the hardcover collected edition. Man, that's fine. Crack-a-lack. Yeah, so you can see it does open up. You got this variant cover here, and then you also get the original #1 cover, and then it goes to this page here. This is level adjusted. A lot of the true black is actually black in the ink. In this one, you actually see a lot of the scribble Sharpie markings or brush pens that he was using. This is more true as far as the line art that's visible. This is more true to what an artist edition would be, and I go over that in the stream. So if you haven't seen that, go watch that. I go through this whole book, kinda, sorta, majority of it. All right, so we're gonna look at this here. Just came out today. Unplugged. eBay sellers are calling it Unplugged #1. There is no #2. There is not. All right, so we'll check this out. Again, if this is your only option, the hardcover I just showed you is extremely hard to find. Extremely hard. Just get this, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully they will put out some sort of a collected, or maybe someone will smarten up and figure out that they can make a lot of money putting out the artist edition of this in full size 11x17. So yeah, but anyhow, yeah, this is pretty cool. As far as stuff that was covered by word balloons, there's not a lot of significant artwork that was covered up. Obviously, they had word balloons and speech bubbles and captions and stuff throughout all these pages. I don't feel like honestly, I don't feel like you really missed out on much. This thing is so detail heavy. It's like there's something interesting to look at, every inch of every page on this book. So we won't make this too long, guys. Again, if you want a more thorough look at more black and white work, go back and look at my video on that black and white edition hardcover. It'll be a little more thorough than this. I'm just showing off what I picked up today. I did get one of these other books here. I can show you this one. Let's see if I got one right here. Yeah, they had blanks for these out. So book 3 of 4. So I guess I'm missing blanks for 1 and 2. I'm assuming that they came out. Yeah, they had this tucked away behind this. There was a foil edition. They're reprinting the ones with the Mike Mignola covers. Beautiful covers. I've always really enjoyed those covers. So, but yeah, Chauncey, yeah, but just this only has the first 2 issues out of the 7. Okay. And again, the shop, I did ask them, and they even told me. I mean, I did enough searching on my own. I just figured like maybe it's just not information available on the internet. I don't know. But they did tell me, they're like, yeah, no, there is no other versions of this or follow-ups to this book. So. I just find it really odd that, an 8-issue series is going to end up eventually, if they do an artist edition and an unplugged, like just a full line art, full size hardcover, not an artist. I mean, it's probably going to be the most I've ever spent on a comic book miniseries. It's still a mini-series, right? 7 books. I feel like 5 or 6 is sort of the threshold, but this one here, it's like they went 7, you know? It's a really cool panel right there. Man, I might start streaming more at night. This, I feel like the camera is much better right now. I don't have all that reflective light coming in my office. Yeah, I've always loved this one here. A lot of these pages I actually got to see way back during the Extreme Studios, our 25th reunion, which was at this point it was 5 years ago, right? Matt Hawkins had a lot of these pages on his phone. He had the drive. I think he had access to the Dropbox, and he let me peek through them. This one page in particular in here was really cool. I'm pretty sure there was a few in there though that were not printed in the series, which was kind of odd. What's up, Fanta? How are you doing? So, yeah, I do recommend this. You could get it probably fairly cheap. Here, I'm going to show you the cover here real quick. So, $4.99. Okay, for some reason I felt like this was a $7 or $8 book. $4.99 and I don't know, 48, 52, whatever. You got more than 40 pages of artwork in here. The nice thing they do in here too is you get the black and white of the covers too, of the standard edition covers. The variants for each one, Marc did an incentive cover of a close-up of a face of one of the core characters in that issue. And those are really, really cool pieces. And by the way, that French edition, the hardcover, does not have those either. So really the only way to collect those right now is if you fork out, 30 or 40 bones for each copy of those for those variants. And they're printed black and white on the cover, so I think it's like a 1 in 20 or 1 in 25 variant or something like that. This one right here. Yeah, this was the first thing that I saw from this way back. So 5 years ago. 5 years ago, I got to see this page. And it was great. As soon as I saw the way that he was rendering this muscle area right here, this shadow line that kind of comes through the figure, I was like, okay, Marc basically reinvented the wheel. I gotta see this. I gotta see this book. What's up? We got Jim Lee. James. Chauncey is asking, oh yeah, 7 issues could be a maxi series. I agree with you, Chauncey. For sure. Yeah, Mr. Lee got the whole set of the drawing covered. Good. Yeah, they're cool. They're super cool, man. I really like them a lot. Do you consider this era Marc superior style? No. I really love this work, and I love the execution that Marc has with this, and I really love the fact that Marc is inking himself, and he's treating the inks the way he does a pencil. They're loose, but they're full on Marc, right? So it has all the really cool things that you used to see his inkers noodle, and he's kind of doing it in a little bit more of a faster fashion. But this feels more like illustration level Sylvestri. Like this is like convention sketch, but has to be finished, right? Like that's kind of what this feels like. Each page here feels like I'm looking at a commission, not something paid for by DC, if that makes any sense. That might sound kind of weird, but it's there's something very fan fictiony about this whole series to me. And I know it's a Black Label book, but it doesn't feel like like your standard Batman stuff, or at least not what I'm really used to. I did stick with the whole Capullo Snyder run just because. something to keep the juices flowing. I'd always find something interesting to, peek at as an artist. I always buy comics based on the art before a story, and that's really where this was. And the story to this, by the way, is actually it's very cool. Marc, um, I think it's sort of like osmosis. He's drawn so many pages. He knows how to tell a story now. But my personal favorite era of Marc would be the new X-Men run. But I'm not entirely sure that it's just this run right here, the Here Comes Tomorrow run. I'm not really sure that it's because of Marc or it's that I really dig the inks. You know what I'm saying? It's like some of the Jim Lee stuff that I really, really like, I've kind of figured out I actually like it because of Scott Williams. It's not necessarily Lee. It's because it's almost like I got to see Scott Williams level up. And I know that can sound funny, but sometimes, the inker really is the one who puts on the polish, right? And I've always said Scott's the real MVP with those two. I've seen other inkers who are super talented ink Jim, and it's just not the same, right? It's like give me some deli mustard, give me some deli mustard, and then they throw that that plain yellow mustard on your dog, man. It's like, yeah, it still tastes okay, but dude, give me that deli, give me some spice. Throw some horseradish on that. So yeah, anyways, yeah, it's cool, and I think there's a lot of things here. I feel like as the series progressed, Marc moved further away from that really, really Franklin Booth kind of approach. It's super evident in all of these areas here. Like this is like this stuff here is straight up Franklin Booth. I mean, even the shading underneath the here. This panel reminds me of like a super tight version of like John Romita Jr. like Uncanny X-Men days. It's really bizarre. But here you can see it where he used a brush pen and did a bit of it. Just very old school illustrator. A lot of it in the face right here too. And Marc was inking this with, let me get my set. I got a whole set of these things here. He was inking with these things primarily. These are those refillable, and I do recommend if you like inking yourself with fine liners, I do recommend you get a set of these. These are the Copic multi-liner, but these ones refill. Okay, they come with you can buy cartridges of them. It's either like an A or a B cartridge that goes inside of it, and these are what Marc was primarily inking it with. I am going to warn you though, the ink that you use for these feels like an 80% black. It's not 100% K, right? And I know he was using the brush pen from this set because all the brush pen stuff has a little bit of a transparent, it has like a translucent look to it. Even on this one, that is very obviously someone at DC went through and they level adjusted this book and made the black darker, and they popped the whites just a tad, like a smidgen. And I can really see it in here, like on the other edition I got. This stuff here, like you can see, it's not going to do the autofocus for me, but you can see in here, look at this. This he fully inked this right here. That's like brush pen. That's not, this isn't work that you get from using, pro black or super black ink or none of that. This is 100% brush pen. And even in here, you can kind of see where he actually rendered it out and then he went over it with a brush. But there's a lot of rendering going on in here to kind of show the brow. And he decided, well, I'm just going to black it out. You can see it here as well. Brush pen. So I think that he just meticulously, maybe out of boredom or watching a show, just filled in this area, filled this in, these characters here. Yeah, just so you know, like I said, if you're using those Copic refillable multiliners, you're not going to get a nice flat black like you're going to get using a brush for spotting blacks. And I've been using the Speedball Super Black for all my spotting lately. This Black Star is good too. I actually ran out and I just haven't gone back to get any more, but this one is a really good one as well. The matte finish I prefer. I just like the way that it looks on that 500 series Bristol that I use for pages now. I just think it looks nice. But yeah, you can see it like right here too. You see that? Like that's you can actually see almost like when a Sharpie dries out, right? That's a brush pen. That's not a that's brush pen. That's what happens when your pen is like running on fumes. So, but I love the approach to this stuff. That's my long, short version answer, I guess. There's always positives to everything. Like, this face here is awesome. Super attractive, super attractive. I love the way that he inked her lips, and there's a lot of fine line detail in here. That gray you see on her lips is not pencil. It's actually kind of just rapid shading with probably like a 005, like a super small fine point pen that barely picks up in print. I don't feel like a Joe Weems or a Matt Banning would be able to ink this properly, if that makes sense. So that's kind of where I'm going with this. I feel like if Marc had drawn this for somebody else who's not himself to ink it, a lot of this loosey-goosey stuff in here, I don't think he'd be doing that. I think it would have been a lot more tight. Like this stuff here, from an inker point of view, or someone who's I'm still not an inker, but I keep getting these ink jobs. Interpreting this, a lot of us would go in and actually straighten these out. I'd probably actually come in and hijack it. I'd probably add a fade that fades to here, a little more, little less drastic. I should say a little more of a finer fade. Like this right here kind of stops here, and then it becomes this like rapid line thing, almost like a J. Lee Hellshock thing, right? Right here it's a little more controlled, but it just feels, like I said, it's just super loose. But I kind of dig it here. It gives it. It doesn't make everything feel so blocky, right? It feels a little more organic through here. He does it through the cheekbones here and stuff, and I love these accent lines that Marc. I do this on my own work, really because Marc does it. This is an awesome panel right here too. Yeah, I don't know. Like, if Marc ever decided, I think this right here was sort of a game changer. Like, I feel like if Marc ever decides to go back to penciling and having someone else ink his work, of course I'm going to buy it. But I just don't think it's going to have the same. It's not going to have the same presentation like it has now, right? Like. He's taking us around the block in the Roadster, you know what I'm saying? And then you got to drive home and you're a Suzu Imark. A 1987 Chauncey, a Suzu Imark. How you feel about that? After Marc took you around the corner in his 50 DeSoto, you know what I'm saying? Jay is bragging. I just got back from Godzilla -1. Well, that's cool. Jay, you took an overnight trip or what? You take a overnight trip? Didn't you say that thing was like 8 hours away from you? 6 hours? Chauncey, can you see any pencil under drawings? Yes and no. Marc does hit all of his stuff with an eraser, but Marc also doesn't always remember to erase the areas where he shades a lot. So there is a lot. Chauncey, there's nothing of interest as far as the pencil that's left there. It is kind of interesting though. There's areas here where you can see where whiteout was used, and you can see the ink work underneath of it. And it's like he wanted to blast this out, like just give it like a negative space chisel, probably to stand out against the dark background, right? So you can see all the, it was actually rendered, and then he just brought some white paint, or probably the, you know, the Posca underneath of it. Yeah. So, anyways, I think that's the last page, and that's the end of this. So, yeah. Anyways, there you go. You get the first 2 issues of Batman Joker Deadly Duo in this Unplugged. eBayers are not, they're not gouging you. You can grab it off there if your local shop doesn't have it. 48 pages. I mean, it's a pretty thick book for black and white. It's got a nice healthy weight to it. It's a healthy baby. Yeah, this is yeah, it's a cool book. It's a cool book. No regrets. No regrets. All right, I might start a live stream. I might start some live drawing.